Hey, what's up guys? Spencer Rhodes here, and this is my review of The Walking Dead Season 9, Episode 15, The Calm Before. Now, for those of you that don't know, I did not do a review of the previous episode, Episode 14. I don't really have any good excuses. I don't know, for some reason I just didn't get around to doing the review. I kept planning on it and then something happened, something distracted me. Like I said, I don't have a good excuse. I don't want to lie and say I do have a good excuse. I don't. It is something that I want to... It's one of those mistakes I don't want to make again, and it's just kind of a learning experience for me. And I want to discipline myself a little bit more from here on out. But if you guys are interested, if anyone is interested, anyone, in me doing a review of episode 14, technically I could still do it. I could probably even still, I'm going to do the entire season 9 review playlist, and I could actually make it in order, even though I'd be doing episode 14 after this one. I could still review episode 14. If anyone's interested in me doing that, let me know in the comments, and I will upload a review of, upload a review of episode 14. But otherwise I'm not going to do it. I think I'll just skip it at this point. But yeah, this episode, holy shit, I've been, in some ways, not even in some ways, really, I've been waiting for this episode for years. Because the Heads on Spikes was all the way back in, what, 2015? Yeah, 2015. I think that's when the Heads on Spikes happened in the comics. And ever since like season 6, season 7, I've been really sort of just anticipating it, kind of dreading it, but also kind of excited for it and curious about how they were going to handle it. And especially back in season 7 when they introduced King Ezekiel, I was like, okay, yeah, this guy is going to die at the end of season 9. They're going to follow the comics and make him the big death with the Heads on Spikes. Season 8 will be All Out War. Season 9 will be A New Beginning. The end of season 9 will be the Heads. It's just too perfect of an opportunity. So literally for years and years, I have just been waiting for this episode, waiting for it. You know, it's just this huge episode where so many characters die. I think more named characters die in this episode than any other episode in the history of the show. 2 main cast members died, Tara and Enid, and Henry was the 3rd big character that died along with those 2. And then there are some other, supporting characters like Tammy Rose, Ozzy, DJ, Adeline, who else? The Frankie, and it was Frankie, DJ, Ozzy. I swear I know everyone's names. I think one of the teenage people was like Ricardo, and he was one of the Heads on Spikes. But yeah, it was pretty crazy. It was 10 Heads on Spikes, which is a fairly good number. It was 12 in the comics, but Rick and Maggie left the show and Jesus got killed off all in this one season, so I'll cut them some slack as far as 10 instead of 12. And as far as, who they picked, I can get behind it. I can agree with it. I've always been a Tara Chandler fan. I've always loved her. But she had a good run, and I really, really didn't want Ezekiel and Rosita to die. I was just hoping that one of them would make it. I didn't think that two of them making it was even possible. My brain could not fathom Rosita and Ezekiel surviving the Heads on Spikes, and now it's a reality. Just like that, it's a fucking reality. So if I knew that they were going to let Ezekiel and Rosita live, I would have been like, yeah, Tara Chandler, geez, I mean, there's got to be someone, there's got to be someone big, someone sad, someone that we've spent a lot of time with. It has to be. The Heads on Spikes is sort of like the next Negan introduction. It's the next Glenn and Abraham. It really is. It's that next big event, and it had to have a sad main character death. And I think Tara fits the bill. Enid, I've never been an Enid fan. I have never been an Enid fan. I'm kind of glad she's gone. She was in 5 seasons, and I can't think of a single thing she did or said that I really connected with or cared about. The only thing about Enid was that she's hot, she's nice to look at. But we still got those 5 seasons to rewatch, so yeah, she was kind of useless. I liked Alden more than Enid, so I'm glad that Alden survived. And Jerry and Nabila survived, and Magda's entire fucking group survived. Hell yeah. And Deanne survived. That's a big win. She's going to make it to season 10. She better. We're one episode away. She better make it to season 10. Cal survived. I'm a big Cal fan. He's like the underdog. I know he doesn't get a lot of lines or anything, but I'm a fan of his character. I'm glad he's probably going to make it to season 10. That'll be his 5th year. Yay! You know, the characters that survived were just as surprising as the characters that died, really. You know, Tammy Rose, everyone, almost everyone, I don't want to generalize people, but you know what I mean. A whole lot of people saw that one coming. There was a whole lot of people that were like, Tammy Rose is going to die. Tammy Rose is going to be one of the heads on spikes. And, you know, Henry, as far as Henry goes, man, I mean, I really did feel like it was either Henry or Ezekiel. I needed the heads on spikes to really devastate Carol. There's really only a handful of characters that could have died that would have really, really broken Carol. It's pretty much Daryl, Ezekiel, and Henry. Those are it. Anyone else, Carol could have probably recovered from them quickly enough. Even Michonne or Tara, you know, I mean, Tara obviously died, but, you know, those type of characters, yeah, Carol was close to them, but she probably would have recovered. The only big ones that would have destroyed her were Ezekiel and Daryl and Henry. And I knew it wasn't going to be Daryl, and I didn't want it to be Ezekiel because I think he's too interesting, and I wanted him in the Whisperer War. So it kind of had to be Henry, and there's always a big part of me, like I said, that wanted Carol to break down. I wanted the heads on spikes to hurt Carol. I wanted her to cry. I wanted her to seek vengeance. That just seemed like a really good idea, you know, really good development for her character. Not that she's completely going backwards, but that she's, obviously this is a huge devastating loss. In some ways it's kind of a repeat of Sophia. In some ways she's going to feel like she just failed all over again. And you know, I mean, it's tough. I mean, not only has she lost her child, and you know, she got back up from that, and she became stronger. But then Henry, you know, I mean, geez, I mean, that poor woman. It's sad for Carol, but I think it's good for the story, and it's good for the character. You know, I love Carol. I don't want her to get stale. You know, I don't want her to just be that happy little house on the prairie person for too long. I think Henry's death, you know, it was good for characters' development. It was good for Daryl and Lydia's development, and it might have been good for Ezekiel's development. I liked Henry. I liked Henry a lot. A lot of people don't like Henry because he went out and rescued Lydia, but I completely support Henry doing that. I mean, Lydia was pretty much in the apocalypse ever since she was like 2 or 3 years old, you know, like just really, really young. And ever since then, ever since the Whisperers started, she was raised like an animal. Even before the apocalypse, Alpha was hitting her, abusing her, hitting her. She told a story about how she hit her really hard when she was like 3 years old. I mean, Lydia was abused and she was raised like an animal. And I would not want a teenage girl like that, you know, continuing to be abused and continuing to live that life. I think Henry did the right thing rescuing her from that. And yeah, you know, you risk lives when you make that sort of decision. And I'm still not sure. Beta said something to Daryl like, you know, all we wanted to do was get Lydia. No one else had to die, but that deal is done. So, I mean, in the comics, Alpha made it clear that she would have done the heads on spikes no matter what. That it had nothing to do with rescuing Lydia or Lydia being here or Lydia being there. She would have done the heads on spikes no matter what. And I kind of wish they did that in the show because there's still a lot of people that are like, oh, it's Henry's fault. It's all Henry's fault. And maybe it is, but honestly, even if it is, I don't know. I wanted him to rescue Lydia. I mean, I just think that, you know, that was wrong, and for her to live like that is just wrong, and it's not fair to her. And I'm glad he rescued her. And he was a really good person. He was just a really good person, And, you know, some people say that the actor was bad. I don't think the actor was bad. He's an awkward 17-year-old boy that likes a girl. I mean, what do you expect? What in the fucking fuck do you expect? Yeah, he is awkward because he's supposed to be awkward. He's a 17-year-old boy that's still growing up and he likes a girl and all that crazy stuff. I think Henry's actor, Matt Lintz, was on point. And I really, really would have liked to have seen Henry in season 10. But I get it, you know, I get it. I get the whole thing with his death, and you know, Adeline, I liked her. She was hot. I kind of felt bad for her because she liked Henry and Henry didn't like her. I mean, come on, man, she's hot too. But yeah, it was a really good episode. It was an hour long, and that's probably the fastest hour ever that I've ever experienced in my life, was that hour-long episode. And I really liked the flow of the episodes. I liked how they did the fair. I liked all the interactions between characters. I mean, there was a lot to sort of catch up on. I mean, a lot of these characters hadn't seen each other for years and years and years, and they've all been separated in their communities. And I was worried that, you know, this is the big episode where just everyone comes together. I was worried that it would have felt too cluttered, that either they would have tried to shove too much in there, or you would have felt like this or that character didn't have enough, this character didn't do anything, that character didn't do anything. But I think they handled it well. I think that they handled the character interactions and the fair well, and I loved how they did the heads on spikes. I loved the cinematography. I loved the animatronic heads or whatever they were. At first I was like, they look like they're barely zombies. They look like they're barely doing anything. Like they're just slightly opening their mouths up and down. But if you're just a head, I mean, what are you gonna do? I mean, you know, you can't move, you can't do anything. So I guess that makes enough sense. And the head of Tara, oh my god, it looked like they decapitated Elena Masterson and put her on that stick. That's how real looking it was. They probably spent the most money on her head because she's basically the biggest character that died. So yeah, but I mean, the heads looked good. That whole scene was great. The music was beautiful. I liked that it was like, what, dawn or something, or it looked like maybe it was daytime, but it looked like maybe it was about to rain. It was just a really beautiful, really disturbing scene. And, you know, I liked how they honored the comics with the heads on spikes, but they also honored the characters that died. You know, they didn't make it too, you know, needlessly graphic. They didn't show the decapitation. I mean, there's a part of me that would have liked to have seen a little bit of that, a little bit of maybe at least someone getting decapitated, but in some ways it's worse because you don't see it. You know, it's up to your fucking imagination. You know, Tara getting her head cut off, and that's up to your imagination. I mean, that's horrible. I mean, from what it seems like, they were all together and they just got killed one by one, and you know, they had to watch it. They had to know that, you know, they were next in line and stuff like that. I mean, that's, oh man, that's rough. But overall, this was a really good episode, and I really enjoyed it. And I'm glad that, you know, Ezekiel and Rosita, they survived it. You know, I'm glad that they survived their comic deaths. I really hope it's not like Abraham, where it's 5 seconds later and they die a different way. I think we need to take a little break from killing a main character, maybe a few episodes. I really hope Ezekiel and Rosita at least make it to like the middle of season 10. If you're going to go through this much trouble, they deserve at least the middle of season 10. I mean, come on. They survived the heads on spikes. We've been thinking of them getting that death for years now, and now they're alive and they survive it, and it's official. And both of them, not just one of them, but both of them lived. I mean, people like me thought both of them would die, you know, and they're both alive. So that's just a release, you know, and it's really interesting. And I hope they make it through at least a sizable chunk of season 10. Otherwise, it's just kind of a waste to spare them their comic deaths. So overall, this was a really, really good episode, and I really enjoyed it. The deaths, you know, some of them were pretty sad, but that's the point, you know. it was sad, but I didn't feel like there was a character that I desperately wanted to be in season 10. I mean, I really liked Henry. I really liked Tara. Adeline was nice to look at, but yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with the deaths. It was sad, but the characters that are still alive, a lot of them, I wanted them to survive. I wanted them to be in season 10. So I kind of feel like they made the right decisions on who they killed and who they didn't kill. And it's just kind of, I mean, maybe it's just kind of amazing to me that Rosita and Ezekiel and Cal and Jerry and Nabila and Luke, I mean, and Deanne, like, we still got all these guys for season 10. Like, that's going to be great. So, I don't know. I'm sad about the characters, but I still think it was a good episode. And I'm at least happy for the survivors, if not the characters I like that died. I'm at least happy for the survivors. But yeah, anyway, that's about all I got for this review, so let me know what you think in the comments below, and don't be shy. Hit that like and subscribe. I'm not going anywhere. I make 1 to 2 Walking Dead videos per day, so please hit that subscribe button. Right now we are at 456 subscribers. My goal is to try to get to 500 in the next few months. So just remember, every subscriber counts, every bit of support matters, and is very, very appreciated. Hopefully we can get to that goal of 500. Anyway, with all that said, I am Spencer Rhodes, and I will see you guys later. Bye!